Have you been swimming around looking for something new to watch that's interesting? Well, try the free gift show. You can jump in with us anytime, pick up a show and enjoy yourself. And don't forget to invite your friends along to make comments during the show to qualify to win different prizes, which will pay for the shipping to ship out to you. So follow us and come along and let's see who we interview and who we have on the show. It's quite a few interesting guests, I'll tell you that.
Well, welcome again to the Free Gift Show, everybody. This is Marty Mangello with our hosts from the United States Presidential Service Center. We have Patty Frudenberg is with us from New York, and also Dr. Rodriguez from down in Orlando, actually Lake Wales. So good to see you guys. What's going on today? How are you feeling?
Happy New Year's.
Absolutely.
Refreshed. How about you, Dr. Mike and Marty?
We're doing pretty good. Like I said, we're looking forward to the New Year's. There's great things that are on the plans, and we're pretty excited.
Absolutely. Last week, the show, we had Landis Wade on, and he's, of course, a recovering attorney. He was a wonderful, wonderful guest. I've already shipped out the book for the free gift show. That's what this show is about, sending out free gifts. So we're going to keep the tradition going in 2022. How'd you guys like the new opening for the show?
Cute.
Oh, awesome.
I showed Stormy.
I was getting ready to put my scuba on.
Oh my God! Yeah, I said we went underwater for this one. Yeah. Today we have a wonderful guest on. He is quite famous throughout several states, but particularly the state of South Carolina. Jerry Bellune. Honored to have him on the Free Gift Show. Jerry, of course, is a prolific writer. If you're thinking about doing a book out there, folks, if you're interested in writing and you want to pick up some tips, Jerry's latest book is really quite nice. We're going to bring Jerry on now to showcase the art of compelling writing. And this is his latest book. So Jerry Bellune, that's Bellune. Jerry, how are you doing down there in South Carolina today?
Fantastic. The weather is beautiful. It's sunny. We had a lot of rain yesterday, but fortunately it was not snow.
Yes. Yes. Did you see those people, by the way, in Virginia stuck on Interstate 95 for 12 to 14 hours?
That's brutal.
It is.
Yeah. Running out of gas. And
Yeah.
So thank goodness for the sun. Patty, how's the snow in New York? Did you get hit yet?
Well, you know what's so funny? Coming back from Vegas over the weekend, and we look at the weather, and we're gonna have snow. And guess what? No snow here on Long Island or this region of New York. I'm not, upstate New York. They get snow really early in the season, but no snow. And then when I saw Virginia had snow, I was like, wow, we really missed it. So, but it's frigid.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, and Dr. Mike is all the way down in Orlando, the lucky dog. He lives right across the street, Jerry, from Legoland.
Okay.
Actually, Lego headquarters.
Yeah.
You got to be a Buccaneers fan too.
Oh, absolutely. Let's, of course, we've got the hottest quarterback around, Mr. Brady himself.
Absolutely. Yeah, you love
23 years old.
Yeah, he's got another year or two.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to turn it over to Jerry just to give us a little synopsis. There's no better person in the world to often talk about their book than a fellow author. And Jerry also is a very famous newspaper owner, a long career in newspaper ownership. and everything you would want to think about for running a newspaper, whether it's old world printing to soy ink to the paper, and all the costs of that, and paper increases out of Canada due to wood pulp, and all the machinations of going through a lifetime of being a very famous newspaper guru. He's quite an expert. Jerry, tell us about your latest book.
Well, it's really a compilation of notes that I sent to writers and editors that I was coaching from. There's the thunder. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I've coached writers in probably 40 or 40 of the 50 states, and also abroad, from New England to California. And I would send them notes. They'd send me their newspaper, or send me articles or feature stories that they had written. And so I'd send a little note back to them, and the internet really makes that very simple. So I collected them, and I'm putting together volume 2 right now, but the book started out to be aimed at newspaper writers. I've edited magazines too and been a broadcaster, but I put a lot of stuff in the book that would be of interest to professional practitioners, entrepreneurs, business owners, about improving their communications, whether oral or in writing. And I've been an advocate of compelling writing, or that's what I call it. It really means forceful, attention-getting writing that cuts through the clutter and doesn't waste a lot of the reader's time, using forceful language, active verbs and active sentence construction, talking to the reader in the kind of terms that they would understand, the story that's going on in their heads. And particularly with an emphasis on accuracy and impartiality, always respecting that people have different views, political and otherwise, religious, whatever. So we want to be able to tell both sides of the story, or if there's multiple sides, to be fair to everyone as communicators. Now, I spent a lot of time, 25 years on large daily newspapers in New York and Philadelphia and northern New Jersey. But the last 30 years, my wife and I came home to South Carolina and have edited a couple of very small community newspapers where people don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call you and tell you if you were inaccurate about something. or
I think that's one of my favorite ones. Jerry, you have a newspaper called The Fish Wrapper.
We do.
How do you like that, Mike? You like fishing?
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So that's a newspaper called The Fish Wrapper.
Right.
Yeah.
May I ask, how did you come up with that name?
Well, I'll tell you a quick story on it. We started it as a free newspaper to help our advertisers reach more prospects. And we wanted it to be humorous. It's got puzzles and comics, feature stories, some news, classified advertising, that kind of thing. And we were looking at names like the Roadkill Rag and the Possum Post. And I saw a billboard one morning. I was driving down Main Street about new homes on Lake Murray. Lake Murray is right behind me through these windows. It's 45 miles long and 18 miles wide, and we have lived here for almost 35 years. But anyway, I saw this sign, and I thought, we don't need the Possum Post or any of that, we can call it the fish wrapper because fishing is a big deal here. They have it's big striped bass country, and they have a lot of major international tournaments here. So anyway, it's become very popular, and we distribute it to about 400 locations. So that's the genesis of the name.
How about the spelling? I don't mean to interrupt, but one more time. The spelling of rapper. How do you spell rapper?
WRAPPER.
Okay.
Just like a newspaper that you write fish in.
Okay.
We say we'll provide the wrapper, you provide the fish, right?
Yeah, Charles Redman, a chef who was on a webinar last night, he said is watching. It was a webinar about how to write a cookbook. He said the Possum Post would also be great. So thank you, Charles.
My wife and I are working on one called Cold Collards and Lard. And there's a story behind that. If you want me to share it, it's real quick.
Yeah, please.
My wife's father was an Air Force fighter pilot and attorney. And he and some of his fellow pilots were stationed in France at one time. And they were sitting around talking about what they missed about America and home and family and stuff like that. And a lot of them, of course, were talking about special dishes that mom made or whatever. So they asked him, Preston, what do you miss? And he said, I miss a real good cold collared and large sandwich. Well, Marty being a cook, you can imagine that sounds fairly disgusting, but it was a joke.
That's right up there with the sauerkraut chocolate cake that we used to make in the military, where you rinse out the sauerkraut 2-3 times.
Yep. So anyway, we were looking for a title that would catch people's attention, and that's one that we're considering. We've got about 100 recipes that are going into it, all family recipes. We're even going to include, Marty, your pizza recipe, if you don't mind.
Oh my gosh, please do. That would be so nice.
You guys had so much fun. Right. The book is really the first of 3 volumes, and it was originally going to be aimed at journalists, both cable, broadcast, radio, newspapers, magazines. But I broadened it out to include things that would help people with writing an advertisement, writing a business letter, writing a proposal, writing usually always dull annual report, making a speech, crafting a sermon. So I'd like to reach a wider audience that I could actually help with the book.
Well, we've got a lot of people on today. I might mention so many comments today. I think you're rapidly approaching the Desmond Tutu Memorial Show, which has a record of about 40-50 comments, Jerry. So the audience just is super energized. Hakan is on, and he is from all the way up north by the Arctic Circle.
Wow.
Hopefully not freezing. I did notice people were saying hello to you, Helena Schaefer. She's got several birds.
Yeah, she's one of our authors for literacy. We raise money for adult literacy tutoring.
And Christina also wanted to say hello to you, Christine Mall.
Right. She handles our free book table at the Authors for Literacy events. It was her idea, and it's been very popular. If you buy a book, of course, the money goes to the adult literacy program, but if you buy a book, you get a free one too. So Christine has been a great supporter of ours.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to shoot it over to Patty, the owner of Miss You Graham up in New York. And Patty, any questions about writing and tips or things? So, Patty, take it away.
I do have a question. You know, Marty, I get excited. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. And I do have a question regarding your book. So again, I'm a note taker. Even here, I'm noting while you're writing because I just want to remember important facts. I love writing down. And with that being said, being that this is a volume of all your notes as a coach, which I think is so beautiful. Now, when did you? It's a double question. I hope I don't confuse you with it. But did you have one particular, just one big book that you kept all those drafts because you knew way to go that you were going to do this someday, or did you have like an aha moment and then went digging for all your notebooks?
The aha moment was my wife. She said, why don't you collect these things into a book? Well, there's so many of them, I couldn't get them all in one book. So this is the first. I'm about halfway through the second, and I've already got a lot of material for volume 3. So I'll plan to get volume 2 out this year and volume 3 out next year. So, but I hope I answered your question. If you will send me your email address, mine is jerrybellune@yahoo.com. I'll send you a free copy, autographed, of the book.
Yes.
Well, fantastic.
Put your mailing address in it.
Oh my goodness! I will put it in our chat here. But you know what's so funny? I have this thing that I collect autographed books. I just started that only in the last year, and this is part of the collection now because it's an honor to have a book by you signed. So thank you. I will accept graciously, and thank you very much for being so generous.
Absolutely. Very nice of you, Jerry. We can actually do our first giveaway right now because I think Jerry's going to send one to Patty, but Jerry has graciously offered to give away 3 free gifts today. And I got to get in a couple more comments because they are ferocious. Charles Redmond just mentioned at least she didn't throw out your notes. So he was mentioning that about your wife. And we had also Ralph commented, a wonderful guest and panel. Thank you so much, Ralph. We really appreciate it. Also, more Happy New Year greetings for 2022. Thank you, Hakan. And Istiak, oh my gosh, from Bangladesh. Istiak, thank you. It is an interesting conversation. We're going to get into some more tips and tricks here about things that are not taught today. Jerry is an old soul and a master at this industry. And I think that's what Charles was mentioning. A lot of the things already commented on by Jerry are things that are not taught today. He just went to a webinar on cookbook writing last night. So it's interesting to hear these comments coming in from around the world. Hakon said that he finished a succulent chicken. Okay. We got a big cooking thing going on here, Jerry.
Sounds great.
And we have a lot of chefs on for some reason. Christine had a comment for you, Jerry, there. She said she has learned so much from you that has helped her as a literary publicist and wanted to thank you. Any comments for the studio audience out there, Jerry?
Well, I'll be very glad to send a free copy of my book to the first 3 people who send me an email, and I'll autograph it. If anyone else who wants a copy, I'll send it to you for $10 and I'll pay the mailing. But my email address, if you want a copy, the first 3 that jump into jerrybellune@yahoo.com will get a free one.
All right, guys, you heard it there. I'm going to type it up. The first 3 people to send an email to Jerry will receive a free copy. And the email you want them to use is Bellune@yahoo.com.
Right.
Is that yahoo.com or yahoo.net, Patty?
.com.
Okay. Yahoo.com. Let's make sure that I have that spelled correctly. In fact, that's going to go out across all 8 networks now. The first 3 people, we better make sure I had that spelled correctly then, right? Jerry Bellune, 2 L's.
Right.
At yahoo.com.
Right.
Yeah, and Jerry stayed here, by the way, at the Inn of the Patriots in Grover, North Carolina. That's how I met him. And he was actually visiting the Kings Mountain Herald, owned by a good and dear friend of ours, Ron Isbell. And Ron has since passed away. His loving wife, Wendy, took over the paper and was running it, and it has since been picked up by another friend of ours who owns a lot of the newspapers here in the area, guys. So what about down there, Mike, while we're waiting for Jerry to pop back in again?
I had a couple questions for Jerry, book-wise, paper-wise. One was, and Martin, you and I were talking about this one day a couple days ago, and we have these small-town newspapers that are trying to reinvent themselves because, of course, subscriptions, advertising, and then the internet, the rag, as they say, that we feel. And I wonder why he feels that, let's say, how does Time handle it? How do the big guys handle it? Because the little guys, to me, seem to be falling under. And I'm just wondering how he sees that playing out over the years. Did you catch that, Jerry?
I did. I think digital is the future. I don't think print newspapers will go away. And I base that on Jeff Bezos. Bezos almost put all the bookstores out of business with Amazon.
That's
now
right.
He's opening up print bookstores.
Yep.
He sees a future because some people want to hold the book. Some people want to hold the newspaper. So I think we're in kind of a status like veterinary medicine. It used to be 80% large animals and 20% pets. Now it's like almost 100% pets and a few specialist veterinarians who still do large animals. So, we're in a transition here. A lot of businesses are in transition now. I was reading this morning that Elon Musk and the Japanese car manufacturers are stealing the market again from U.S. automakers. So they're going to have to figure something to reverse that. So
yeah.
Professional practice, just like business, is a ever-changing environment. And I suspect, in your own work, you've had to adapt as new technology became available and patients' needs changed through changes in diet and environmental concerns and whatever.
Yes. Now, Jerry, so the small-time newspaper, the subscriptions, the advertisers, do you think that the content should be offered for free, and then in turn that the people, or let's say the new way of doing business, strictly pulls its money in, let's say, from the advertisers alone? Do you think that would carry a newspaper? Because I look at Time, I look at Wall Street,
Right. Well, I'm a Wall Street Journal subscriber, and I did it because I like their stories. I like their writing. But it may be what we need to do is what we have done, and that is that you can get like the first 2 or 3 paragraphs of an article you're interested in, and if you're a subscriber, you can read the whole thing. But if you're not a subscriber, you can still come on and shop our website, which is what we offer advertisers, is prospects eyeballs. So I do think, though, that for instance, things like public health, COVID-related news, we always posted that free so that anybody visiting the site could read the story, because we wanted to be helpful to people with concerns during the pandemic. That rocketed our visitors on our website to 5,000 a day. It was amazing.
Wow.
Of course, that became an attractive way for our advertisers to also reach prospects for their business or to reactivate a customer that they had lost.
Now,
Exactly.
another question, Jerry, if I could switch topics back to your books, since you're talking, let's say, more than a series of 10 or 12, at the Presidential Service Center, we're working on a small project, or we like to think is a good project, where we're bringing in stories of other presidential badge holders, and we're putting them together as in volumes.
Right.
Like you said, we gathered all these stories,
Right.
and we finally realized that we had so many of them. We have more than plenty for 3 or 4 volumes.
Right.
My
Well,
thing is,
you may have the next chicken soup for the soul there.
Yeah, and that's just something I want to recommend to people. Chicken Soup for the Soul did their book proposals for years and years and years to the biggest blockbuster publishers in the world's history, and consistently, repeatedly, doggedly, negatively were told it's inappropriate material. It would not have broad-based market appeal. This Chicken Soup for the Stomach book, excuse me, it's Chicken Soup for the Soul, sir. The Chicken Soup for whatever, and all these crazed ideas that you guys have about Chicken Soup for the Soul, for the teenager, for the all this stuff, the whole thing. Please stop making presentations about this book. You guys have been here before. They were thrown out, asked to walk out, and asked to leave so many times. It is ridiculous, Jerry. Jerry, what do you have to say about keep on trying and keep on proposing your book?
Well, I think all authors take a certain amount of risk, but we do it lovingly. We're doing it because we really have a message that we think would be of help to somebody else. And Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen went to, I think it was the Houston or Dallas Book Fair, and went to 49 publishers that had booths there, and 48 of them turned them down. Number 49 said, that might be an interesting idea. Let's talk some more about it. And of course, the phenomenon began. So
Exactly. Another question that we had for you today, Jerry, was if you could explain a little bit more for the folks out there, what is compelling writing and why is it better?
compelling writing concentrates on being highly legible, whether it's spoken or written. Broadcasters, for instance, cable news guys, your local television news people, and radio guys have learned that if you write a really long sentence, you're going to have to start taking breaths in the middle of it. And that doesn't work very well on the microphone or on the camera. So they write short sentences. A long sentence in radio land is 18 to 20 words. My people, I've coached them to set a goal of an average of 15 words. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have a 25-word sentence, but you've got to have a couple of 10-word sentences in there too.
Yes.
Ernest Hemingway, Ernie Powell, and Ann Landers, the old advice columnist, one of the most popular writers in history, all wrote an average of 14 to 15 word sentences. Those are easy to understand. They also use simple words, strong, as Winston Churchill says, strong Anglo-Saxon words that are easy for people to understand. If you're doing academic writing, or you're writing for engineers or fellow physicians or whatever, you're certainly not, you're going to be able to use jargon and technical terms that the average reader would not understand. But what I'm talking about is if you're writing for a wider audience, you've got to use shorter sentences, shorter, simple words, and short paragraphs. Now, if you're writing Mom, she's going to read the letter anyway because it's from you. But you might as well make it entertaining and interesting for her while you're doing it.
Exactly. We have another question that came in about your opinions on newspapers. Did you also feel that that's true about magazines and their readership?
Well, magazines, I think all of us have recognized, have gone through a huge transition. You know, the Saturday Evening Post, Life, Look, all those general interest magazines went away. Now they come out with something like The Royal Couple. It's a special book about the royal couple and what they're doing, and it's published by Time or Life or one of these publishing companies, but they no longer publish those general interest magazines, which I think is a real loss because some of the stuff in them was great. But the other branch of magazine publishing is men's health, women's health, travel magazines, cooking magazines,
yes,
lifestyle, home
Food
design
TV,
magazines.
Food TV Networks magazine with Hearst Publications is the number 2 selling magazine in the United States, quickly followed by Reader's Digest. Is it, like you're saying, Jerry, it's just a small little,
That's
Jerry,
I think Reader's Digest still probably has the biggest circulation in the world.
They do.
And they are a general interest publication. What their secret is, I guess, is the content and the size. It's easy to hold.
Absolutely. We used to put it out at Camp David and all the cabins when guests would come up and stay in all the different homes at Camp David, 19 private homes. Reader's Digest was one of them that was out there. Also, a very popular selling magazine is, the TV Guide. It's amazing. So the other thing, Jerry, was before we break for commercial, how did you first discover compelling writing?
I worked with an editor early in my career. My wife and I, she had been his student at Carolina, and he taught part-time at the university as well as editor of our newspaper. And I went to see him because I knew he had an opening for an editor. And so we talked, and he shared this vision with me of a newspaper that not only presented factual, accurate accounts, but it embraced the reader. It tried to tell the stories in common language. It tried to address topics that were of concern to parents, taxpayers, business people, those who were looking for inspiration or religious guidance. He was trying to create and I don't mean this disparagingly, but the New York Times kind of holds their readers at arm's length, but that's my opinion. The newspaper he saw and asked me to help him do was a newspaper that embraced the reader. that's where compelling writing came from. It was concentrating on simplicity of language, talking about topics that people were concerned about, whether it was crime in their neighborhood, tax increases, inflation, you name it. It talked about topics that they were concerned with. So that was where compelling writing came from.
Amazing. Well, we are going to take a commercial, guys, when we come back. One of the big things we're going to reveal is if you'd like to receive the compelling writing newsletter, exactly where would you go? What would you do? And we're going to showcase Jerry's website, in fact. So give us a second. We'll be right back. And thank you, everybody, for hanging in there.
Chef Out here. Want to tell you about my Amazon best-selling memoir cookbook, A Chef is Born, chock full of recipes. Also ranked the 77th book of all time out of 99, according to the Book Authority.
It's a good book, but I'm a better chef than you.
Yeah.
Did you ever miss someone who has passed away? Now there's Missugram app, giving people a brand new way to tribute the lives of deceased loved ones, or simply remember tender memories. This exclusive app is a user-friendly social media platform, giving people everywhere a respectable and comfortable place to create private or public memoriams. Missugram has additional features like chat rooms and links to deceased databases and inspirational quotes. Users can also comment and connect on public posts. Join us and keep memories alive forever. Everyone wants to be remembered. For more details and download on the Google Play or Apple App Store, visit miss-u-gram.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Presents Streaming Network.
Did you know that at least half of the world's population still does not have access to essential health services? One of the biggest problems in developing countries is the lack of medical monitoring devices. We have a solution. Kipuwex. Kipuwex is an easily attachable, lightweight IOMT device which continuously measures all the clinically relevant biomarkers vital to the assessment of your health. Kipuwex uses smart algorithms to provide efficiently reliable measurements for healthcare professionals. The biomarkers can be monitored remotely, anywhere and at any time, with a mobile and web application. Kipuwex is not limited by physical infrastructure and is suitable for professional use and in the future for home users as well. A simple user interface will let you choose which biomarkers you want to view and displays them on easy-to-read graphs. We here at Kipuwex want to combat healthcare inequality and help millions of people around the world.
Welcome back. And that was quite interesting with Jerry. I'm very excited that we had him as a guest.
Oh, I thought that was great.
He is.
Like I said, Jerry, what's fascinating is, to have that discipline, and I've mentioned this to other writers, to have that discipline inside you to produce such great work really is amazing. But you must have to give credit to I guess would be the most hardest job would be your wife, because because she put you on the trail.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, Dr. Miguel, because you know why? I did have a question. How many times did it take her until you actually decided to go ahead and do this?
My wife is a very persuasive woman. Believe me. She's my best friend, my severest critic, and greatest supporter. And I thank God daily for putting her in my life.
Well, Jerry, we had promised our viewers out there all across the world when we come back from commercial break, if one of the listeners wanted to receive your compelling writing newsletter, what should they do? And I thought it might be helpful if we share and let everybody see your website today. So I'm just going to go on ahead and share my screen and run over there. And let me make sure. I know you don't have a whole bunch of audio with videos on there, but let me share that now, and we'll shrinky dink down and run over here. Can you guys see Jerry's website here?
I do.
Okay, Perfect.
Yes.
So you come in, it's the homepage, obviously. And Jerry, where should they go if they'd like to get the newsletter?
Well, they can send me an email at jerrybellune@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website and sign up for it. It's absolutely free. In fact, there's a book if you're involved in operating a business or professional practice called Uncover Your Inner Sales Genius. And
I think I see it right there.
Yeah, it's right there. And you can get download a digital copy of it.
Okay, so they would just do that right here. I often say seeing is believing.
Sure.
So everybody would just, if you'd like to receive Jerry's tips each week, this is a weekly newsletter that you put out.
It's actually monthly.
Monthly, okay.
Yeah. I do, if they're interested, I do write a weekly blog called It's Your Business that is aimed at entrepreneurs and business owners to help them survive and thrive, particularly in these troubled times we're facing right now. So if they'd like to get the weekly It's Your Business and or the monthly writing tips, just send me an email and I'll be glad to sign you up. Both are absolutely free.
Okay, cool. And you've got a nice bio here, client list, contact Jerry, the testimonials. I also notice many of the different association. Mike and I are both members of Rotary. Patty has just joined. She'll probably be confirmed this month.
Very good.
Yeah. So Jerry's a lot.
Great organization.
Absolutely. And we're working on some Nigerian water wells right now.
Oh,
and
very
different
good.
things. And we flip them over to, in Ghana, there was a question and we looked it up and I told him, I said, look, there's 35 chapters of Rotary in Ghana and the global grant is available starting at $400,000. So, no need to have money funneled over from America right away. You've got chapters right in your backyard right there.
Jerry, I should also tell you I'm a Paul Harris fella, and I've built many of schools and clinics and wells with Rotary International. And for the Presidential Service Center, they're a great partnership because we're able to cut through the red tape because there's a new way of doing business in government, and that is nonprofits, for-profits, and government together, NGOs, all of them. And it's a new way. And that's how Martin, again, with the network, is able to cut chase because we give them the answers immediately, not 2-3 months later. Right. So that's why I think we can accelerate some of the Rotary International's projects by just simply keeping the locals informed that what Rotary has to offer and the pillars that they represent. It's a great organization, as you know.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And I don't know if you know it, Mike, but since how you're retired Army, Jerry spent 2 years in the Army in Korea.
Thank you for your service, Jerry.
One of the harshest climates in the
world. Yeah, just if you're looking up Jerry and you're digging around, you'll also notice Jerry is on Amazon. So a lot of our readers and authors like to figure out, where can I buy the books at Amazon? Is he on Amazon? They're always asking that. Same thing with Landis Wade. And it seems like Amazon might be having a minor struggle pulling up their website today, but they can't blame that on the snow, can they? No, they can't. You can't blame everything on the snow, can you? So here's a bunch of Jerry's books. There's Jerry and his wife.
Right.
And you'll see the art of compelling writing is what we are talking about today. It is $9.99 on the Kindle edition, but also $1 Million Strategies is there and a couple others. So just pop into Amazon. If you're a Kindle reader, you're a paperback guru, whichever is better. And these are all from Riverbanks Press. How many different publishers have you been with, Jerry?
Well, we started Riverbanks Press to actually help some of our customers who, well, one of the first ones we did was for our dentist. And he had been writing a monthly column for our newspaper. And he decided he wanted to collect those in a book that he could use as a prospecting tool for patients. So we put that together for him. And it also gave me an opportunity to avoid having to go the agency publisher route. I could publish my own books there.
Exactly. Which, you know, some people have torn others down and said your book is fake. It's disallowed on Wikipedia. Vanity writing for fraudsters is a joke, and your information will be stripped down and removed. Honestly, this is a lot of things that writers face. I've been with 3 publishers now. Mitchell's publishing house has been really good to me. They've published over 100 books. But I've also done a lot with Lulu, where I control all the content and own everything, and then bring it over to Amazon for digital sales of ebooks and, of course, audiobooks I've gotten into now with the whole Screen Actors Guild and SAG-AFTRA contracts and going through all that. But, Jerry, you're exactly right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with starting a publishing house and owning a publishing house and even helping other authors.
No, it's not. Actually, it's a good idea. A lot of the authors that we know, here in South Carolina, either go with small publishing houses or do it themselves. And for me, self-publishing has been the best route for me. So,
yeah,
not all sizes fit all people.
Sure. And consider the fact when you do go with Time Life or Random House or Jay Wiley or any of these large, publishers, you end up hearing conversations like my buddy Walter Scheib, the White House chef, told me he's getting $1 for every book. I said, Walter, how can that be? They're selling for $24.95. How is it you're getting $1 from each book? He said, that's the way this goes, Marty. I'm not a very famous writer. I may have been the White House chef. I've got wonderful recipes. There's a lot of mechanics behind this with, taking a huge risk and printing 140,000 copies. And then they're sitting in a warehouse and they're praying to God that they do sell, and shipping them out one at a time. And this is where we saw the great divide, the great digital divide with print on demand. If you go into a Borders bookstore today and order Jerry's book, Your Life's Great Purpose, cataloged preferably by Ingram, then Borders will pick it up. But any of the small 20,000 independent bookstores, if you're with Ingram, also will have your book available. And they'll tell you, you come in here often. We see you over at the coffee shop and you get a Danish. Your book will be printed and it'll actually ship in. It'll be here in 2 days. So when you come back, we'll have your copy for you, Mr. Bellune or Ms. Frudenberg. And so that's print on demand. That's what it actually does. A Robotoid spins up and does the glue and prints that book in less than 4 minutes and ships it. One book was ordered and paid for, ships it to that B Borders bookstore that you happen to go to, number 4382 over in the Bronx, right, Patty? That's your favorite store. That's actually that's how that works. So
and I have
a question about this.
To any address you want.
That's right.
Yeah, we're doing Amazon print on demand now.
Yes.
Yes. This makes a lot more sense.
Yes, it's one book, one order, one payment, one credit card. Bada bing, bada boom, done. It print out. You go online. Jerry says, "Oh gosh, honey, somebody just bought one from Seattle last night while we were asleep. It's printed and shipped already. Jerry, did you get your commission? Let me check my bank account real quick."
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it went through. I'll receive it towards the end of the month, sweetheart. We're up to like 19 sold on The Great Purpose this month. I don't know what's going on with that book, but 19 of them already this month.
Well, let me share something on pricing for anybody who wants to use on demand. There is an initial setup cost, but it's not a lot. But if you price your book at $10 or more, Amazon pays you 30% of the retail price. Although they take care of the mailing cost or digital delivery cost. If you price it at $9.99 or less, you get 70% and Amazon gets 30%. So that's their incentive to keep the book prices low to sell more books. So if you're going to offer your book, consider seriously whether you want to offer it for a penny less than $10 to get 70% of the revenue from the sales.
Good
And
note.
Patty, you had a question?
Well, you know what? It was actually answered as you guys kept talking. But my
Yeah.
question was for a new author, let's say. I mean, I'm an Amazon influencer affiliate, and I'm all about Amazon. So just because of this interview and your credibility, I am putting you on my recommendations list. Besides, eager to read it. But I do have another question. My question was, what would you recommend for putting it all out together, digital and print? But you guys kind of like touched on that. So I have another question, if you don't mind. And is this book an Audible type of book, or is it more like a workshop book where it's going to make more sense to have a print?
Well, I personally think the paper copy is better because you've got it whenever you want to refer to it. And all of the chapters are in alphabetical order, although there's a table of contents up front too. So if you're looking for, I read something in there and I can't remember what it was, but you've got it there, just like a dictionary. But the Kindle edition also, if you save it on your hard drive, you've got access to it just the same. Depends really on whether you prefer looking it up in print or looking it up on your computer. One of the nice things to me about the books in digitized form is that they're PDFs, so you can download them. You can make paper copies of them if you want to share them with somebody, or you can email them to someone. So my goal is not so much to make money, but to help other writers. But the small charge that we one of my books on in demand is actually free. That's the Uncover Your Inner Sales Genius. But and I'm going to put more free books on there too, because I really do want to help people. I've been blessed and had the privilege of learning a lot in my life. I'm 85 years old. So.
We couldn't tell. And Jerry, we want to say goodbye today. We want to thank you so much.
Well, thank you too,
for coming
Marty.
on the show.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, all of you. It's been a great
you.
Opportunity. And
Jerry, you have reached across 205 countries and territories today.
Wow.
I know I saw comments from Norway, the Netherlands, Bangladesh, India. We just love this medium, and I think it's a lot of times it's very similar to what we were just talking about.
Right.
In the old days, we would go and prostrate ourselves on our knees or lay full frontal face down in front of the publisher and beg them to please pick up my book. We had a book proposal. We had to hire a book proposer who was an expert at doing these pitches. I had one 10 years ago. He told me, oh, yeah, I've got you in the mix. I'm going into Macmillan and I'm doing like 10 tomorrow. Don't worry, you're in, Marty. And he'd call me back and say, they didn't pick you up, Marty. You know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In fact, I only got 1 out of the 10 picked up, and he was very, very polished, very famous. He wrote the whole book proposal himself. He said, I know what to write. I do these all the time, okay?
Right.
With Time Life and the biggest publishers. Again, the risk always was, you know, in the old days, what are we going to do if we get stung really hard, like you know, 3, 4 wasps at one time? And this book that we printed 140,000 copies of, we've only sold 50,000 of them, and they're all sitting in the warehouse. Okay, this was the problem of begging people to pick up your book. It's much like what we're doing right now live today with Jerry.
That's right.
We would often go in and beg the networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, Fox, CNN, please pick up a show. We think people would want to watch this.
Sure.
Jerry's a great guy. We would love to have him on. Landis Wade, an attorney, we'd love to have him on. You know, again, it was always no, thank you. It doesn't really seem like anybody would be interested in it. And you know, it's just a shame. And when all that ended, starting in about 2008, Jerry, and it became possible to reach people worldwide through streaming. Now, again, we're direct to customer. So like print on demand or self-publishing, we don't have to beg people anymore.
That's right. That's right.
And they say the same thing about the book. Oh, yeah, I saw Bellune's books. They're all fake vanity books. He was never actually. It's like the guy owns like 3 newspaper companies. He's very famous. Trust me, he has plenty of money. You know, it's not fake. And they say the same thing, Jerry. You know what they say? It isn't really TV. You're not on TV. You need to stop telling people that you're on TV. It's like, when is the last time you went to Best Buy and dropped $4,000 on a QLED TV? Have you bought a TV within the past 10 years?
That's right.
No, not really. We have all of our old, I've got my Philco. I'm like, listen to me. When you buy a TV at Best Buy, when you plug it in, it auto-populates it. It links with the internet in your home.
Right.
400 to 800 channels appear that you've never heard of on the bottom.
That's right.
Cheddar Television Network, live from the New York Stock Exchange. Vudu, Hulu, Roku, Netflix, HBO. They have gotten so sick and tired of what they're doing that Paramount opened their own channel. Do you think that if Paramount and Disney opened their own channels that something's happening? Or do you think that Paramount Film Studios and Disney are stupid clown vanity? You have got to get with the program and stop making fun of everybody, I tell people.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's true. Well, thank you for having me. And again, Jerry, it's a pleasure. And Patty, it's great to see you. Marty, as usual.
Absolutely.
I can hardly wait for a new recipe.
You guys take care. Be good, and thank you so much.
All right, guys.